Hi, my name's Joanne. I'm with Muddaritaville Studio. We have been designing and manufacturing reusable stencils for 11 years now. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to paint an IKEA, how to paint a pillow with a reusable stencil. I'll be using today an IKEA Gurli pillow cover, and I will be using Fusion mineral paints. So let's get started. So first what I need to do is I am putting a card in the middle, which this isn't very good. Putting a card inside the pillow cover. And this is a pink IKEA Gurli pillow cover. This card will stop any bleeding of the paint through to the other side. Now I'm going with a fun saying today. This is a little reminder I'm going to give myself every day. and so I am going to tape this on. And I'm actually going to tape it on from the bottom edge because I'm working with this upside down today so that it's on camera. Now the reason I'm taping it at the bottom edge is if I want to check my progress at any point, I can just lift this so I'm hinging my stencil to the fabric. So I'm going to use a variety of colors from Fusion mineral paint today. Now I always paint and use Fusion at 100%. You could, so I'm not mixing anything into my paint. You can add a fabric medium, which makes the paint a little bit more pliable after the fact. The other thing that you can do, which I've seen some fabric painters do, is after they've finished painting and the paint is dried for 24 hours, they will heat set with an iron the paint. So I'm just going to come back over here for a minute and show you. I'm using a dome stencil brush. I have these in various sizes, so it gives me a little bit of a softer edge, being a slight dome to the stencil brush. I will do another video at a later date of all the materials that you can use for stenciling. Now, I load my paint onto my brush, which I'm sorry I don't have an overhead on that today, but then I will offload any excess paint onto a paper towel. So, let's get started. I'm using this lighter color, which is Fusion Inglenook, and I may actually put that as kind of my base, and then I will come in and add and blend other colors. I'm kind of going multicolored today. Now, as you can see here, when I'm on wood, I swirl my brush. On fabric, you can tap, or you can actually just pull in this direction. And because I have card in between the fabric isn't moving, which is great, but I'm just looking to get the paint on here. And it doesn't have to be heavy, especially on fabric. You could go pretty light on this. So let's get up here. I may actually have a tiny bit too much paint on my brush. Hard to tell. It's where I'm seeing on part of my edges. If I can see the paint collecting at the edge of the stencil, it's making me think that I may have a tiny bit too much paint on there. It takes so little paint when using a reusable stencil. You'd really be surprised how little it takes. I always say less is best. You can always come back and add more. It's a little harder, especially when painting on fabric, to remove. And I'm not sure if I can zoom in on this, but just where I was there right now, trying to zoom in on that, it's not going to work. I was going to show you what I mean by seeing a bit of the paint on the edge. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with Inglenook here. And again, I got a little bit too much. Like I said, it's really, there's so little paint required when using a reusable stencil. Now, I started designing reusable stencils back in 2012. I had, up until that point, been using vinyl to paint signs and decorate furniture. And what I found frustrating, not only the waste of all the vinyl, nice thing is this stencil can be used over and over again, is when using vinyl, you need your base paint color to dry and cure before you apply vinyl onto it, because I had a couple of oops situations where when I go to paint my words on top of my base color, the words on top would reconstitute the paint, and then the vinyl would pull up the base paint color when I'd remove it. That frustrated me, and also just getting multiple uses out of a design. And that's when I started working with reusable stencils, and I initially did them with a craft cutter. I had a silhouette. I still have that original silhouette. Now I'm going to start adding some other colors in here. So I started off with Inglenook from Fusion. I now have, what am I working with next? Is this Chesler? No, Conservatory, sorry. I'm gonna add a little bit of Conservatory in here. Because as I said, I really want to blend some color in here. And again, I came in with a little too much paint on my brush. Now, what other color do I want to add on this outer edge? Let's add a tiny bit of pressed fern. So I'm adding some pressed fern, I'm offloading. Now this, I haven't changed brushes yet, so I'm actually getting a blend of colors on my brush. And there is no method to my madness on how I'm adding all of these colors right now. I'm just trying to get a very multicolor kind of paint finish. And there's no rules. That's the whole thing. Just have fun. If you're unsure, practice first. You know, either get a, if you want to see how you do on fabric, test, you know, if you've got an old piece of fabric, test first before you go on these. These IKEA pillow covers, I don't know what the price is now. I'm in Canada. They used to be around $4.99, and then you have the inserts that you can buy also. I really don't know where the price is on them now. Now, I am going to switch brushes because I'm going to switch over to some blue. And I am going to Fusion Chesler next. So again, I've loaded it onto my brush, and I am going to offload. And you can always, I've got some areas here, like I try to make and manufacture our designs fairly sturdy. But if you see something's moving, move your hand around with the design to hold everything in place. And you can see I just naturally go to a swirl. That's just how I normally paint when I'm on wood. So sometimes it's just a natural process for me. So I'm going to add a little bit more here because it's a little bit light and I want the words and the saying to show up, because this is going to serve as a daily reminder to me. What's that book? Don't sweat the small stuff. This is kind of my reminder to not sweat the small stuff. And again, see, I went right back to swirling again because that is my natural process, but on fabric. I'm just getting in there and because I am working with a dry brush, now I'm going to add a little bit of Manor Green to this, and it's going to blend in with the Chesler because I am not changing brushes. So say I've added Manor Green, so it's actually blending with the Chesler. And I'm just randomly going over here adding a little bit. I honestly don't know how this will turn out. Here's the thing, and this is something I do on a regular basis. I may even have a small video here on this. I will often have a saying on both sides of my pillows. So if it doesn't work out on this side, I can do it on the other side. But if I want to switch things up, I do that specifically seasonal. I'll have kind of a generic any season saying, and then I will turn it over for Christmas or any other seasons. Okay, I may want to add a tiny bit. What have I got here? Bayberry. I had a bunch of colors out that I was going to work with. It may be starting to look a little muddy. I don't want that. Okay, let's take a look and see how this has turned out. Now, as I mentioned before, I have hinged the stencil at the bottom so that I can lift this, but I can reposition it if I want to add more paint. And that's just a little part of my, oh, my brush was shedding a bit. There it is. I'm actually happy with the way that turned out. I hope you enjoyed that. I am going to put some links below with the names of the stencils I've used, the name of the IKEA stencil, and I'll put a special discount code there for you too if you would like to purchase a stencil for your project. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to comment. Let us know where you've been watching from. Let us know if you are someone who stencils. And if we've given you a little bit of inspiration today, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We appreciate you being here. Have a great day.